177 man, GO 5629. GTS go. Do the numbers run down the track.
This is the town of Bexhill on a May morning. Along the promenade of this normally quiet seaside resort, the still air is awakened by the roar of powerful engines. The Bexhill 100 has begun.
Well, here we are at Bexhill for the Bexhill 100. We've already got quite a nice selection of cars. I brought along my cars from my own collection at Filchy Manor, and we'll be bringing some more along tomorrow. We'll be using the 1893 Benz and the 1898 Orient Express tomorrow, which will be two pre-1900 or Victorian motor cars. The Benz, well, both the Orient and the Benz are very rare. There's only 3 Orient Expresses in the world, and there's only 2 Benz Victorias in the world, and the Benz Victoria that we're bringing tomorrow used to be the property of the late Bernard Garrett. We look after it for his trust. We're always increasing the collection at Filchin, and of course we're predominantly London to Brighton run cars, sports and racing cars.
In those early days, so records the Bexhill Observer of May 3rd, 1990, in Bexhill the number of cars owned by local worthies was so small that boys could recite from memory the names of both the cars and the owners.
1903 Oldsmobile, which I bought from America last year. Unfortunately, on the way over here this morning, the crankcase is shattered, and so I've got to do extensive repairs. It's not running. It won't be running again for at least another 3 or 4 months, I would think. Spares are a bit hard to come by on 87-year-old motor cars. Unfortunately, having broken down, you know, we've got a problem in buying new spares or spares getting made for it. But pre-1904 cars which are eligible for London Brighton are working in the range of £20,000 upwards, so it obviously is well worth repairing. After 1904, most of these veterans of this sort of age are between £15,000 and £20,000. You cannot now buy a veteran for less than 10, unless you're very, very lucky, or it's in such a state it's not worth working with.
We're looking now at the Hastings trolley bus, which was one of 8 built in 1928 for the old Hastings Tramways Company. Only 8 of these buses were ever built. This is the sole survivor, inasmuch that the owners of the bus know the fate of the other 7. It really is the only one in the world. It ran up until early pre-war days as a trolley bus with the Hastings Tramways Company. In 1939, they introduced a series of Sunbeam trolley buses of a more modern design, and the open toppers fell into obscurity. This particular one, number 3, was put into storage at the train depot at Bulverhythe in Hastings. There it stayed until the 1950s, when a bright spark, for lack of a better term, in Hastings Tramways decided the bus should be revamped for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth in 1953. Happy Harold, as it became known to the public of Bexhill and Hastings and people around, and many, many visitors to the town, soon gained a place in the hearts of everybody. When the trolley service was discontinued in 1959, it might well have meant the end of trolleys. Happy Harold didn't die. The Hastings Bus Company of the time put a diesel engine in it, covered it in fairy lights, and for many years after that, Happy Harold continued to entertain people along the seafront at Hastings.
This is the Ford single-seater prototype that was built in 1933 by Henry Ford. He built two, one of which was written off in the early 30s, so this is the only remaining example. And it was given to Sir Malcolm Campbell in 1935 in exchange for the loan of the Bluebird record car for the Henry Ford Museum at Dearborn. And on its return, Sir Malcolm raced it at Saltburn and Southport and then presented it to Donald Campbell to learn to drive it at the age of 14.
The stars of the weekend are arriving, gleaming brightly from the attention of their owners and with a majesty only afforded to these grand ladies of the road.
The basic history for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, she was designed and built from the basic artist impressions that were required from the film between the Hawthorne racing team and the Ford specialists. She's totally unique in design. A lot of the brass work was made specially for it, and the remainder is antique in origin. The only thing that is modern, so to speak, is the engine and transmission, which are from a production Ford engine.
This is a 1937 Model Y Ford. Was the £100 Ford from the 1930s. I've had the car for around 15 years, but it's only recently been restored in the last 5.
It's an Elva Courier. It was built in 1958 by Frank Nicholas behind the York pub in Bexhill. It was raced as the ex-works car and prototype car, and then come through a number of different owners and raced. It's got a good race history. It's been owned by my father for about 5 years now. MGA 1622 engine. It's road modified, developing about 110 brake horsepower.
It's 1929 Austin 7, rebuilt by myself over 15 years. This is its second year out.
It's a 1962 Mark II Ford Consul 375, basically the last of the Mark IIs that was built by Ford before they went on to the Mark III. It's been virtually restored from a very rough condition. The paint is not an original colour. There's only a couple of added attractions. The engine is basically the same, the interior is the same. The white walls came as produced in those days. I've owned it since October 84.
Right, this car's commenced building in 54. It's a one-off special for sprints and hill climbing. When I got too old in the tooth for that, I converted it to road use, hence what you see now. But it is a one-off. There's not another like it, as far as I know. And it's been a very successful project.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Mark II Jaguar 3.8. It's 1966 model, and I had it just over 14 years now. It's original all round. What more can I say?
Yeah. It's a 1967 Mercedes 250S. I bought the car in October. As you say, you can see it was a British Consul car from new and came back from Trinidad a few years ago. So it's a 1967 Mercedes 250S saloon.
This is a Lancia Monte Carlo Series 2. There's only about 285 of them in the UK, the second series. As you can see, the shape was designed by Pininfarina, who designs most of the Ferraris, I believe. It's a nice shape, mid-engined, two-seater. I've had it, this is a 1982 car. I actually purchased it myself in 1984. covered 54,000 miles. Bodywork's all original. The only thing that's been resprayed have been the two front wings. Otherwise it's all standard as much as you see. The engine churns out 120 horsepower, it's a Fiat twin cam unit. Slight modification was the brakes have been changed to Tarox brakes because this was the bugbear of the car. Being mid-engine, there was more weight at the back than the front. Used to have front wheel brake lock-up. With these Tarox brakes on here, it makes the braking a lot easier.
Yeah. Very effective car.
She's still in full race conditions, did very well at Mallory, I gather, last weekend. She's here today on the grass, she won her class last weekend. She is, in fact, chassis number 002. This car coming down the course, Jaguar XJS. Do not cross the track, please. Do not cross the track. Please stand well back. Brand spanking new. Absolutely stunning, followed by equally attractive. Very, very good. Better shade of green you will not find this. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Jaguars are rolling. Jaguars are coming down. These stand back. These are powerful vehicles. An older generation that is expensive. Zero. A powerful Talbot, a building manor motor museum in Morgan. Collection of fine vehicles. The cars are rolling. The Daimler and the Bentley coming your way, please stand. Your local Renault dealer, one of the oldest established garages in the UK. Family business, still privately owned. Cars on the grid. Cars are running. Stand back well, please. Stand back. Good luck, Vickers. Keep waving. Highly respected man in the motoring world. Also an extremely determined who helped the Bexhill-on-Sea get started with motor. Very, very squirty looking AC Motors Escort down there.
Jolly good.
Isn't it a lovely day?
Beautiful day with beautiful ladies.
Believe me, he'll turn around.
The downhill has just started.
It took 3 years to sell 100 of those. The youngsters can feel to the top. And it's very nice, big model, 1.5 inch apron glasses, followed by one of the frog-eyed stripes. Nice original stripes. This is a record, beauty, everything that's about. You'll see. Has the silver shadow too low. And this to the back with the special, Vauxhall running here and 4 years duration. The next J6 Jaguar, the next JX, V12 Coupe, the Peter Seller. We have a superb prize waiting for you if you will see you down to this bar. Paddock area, the road
Well, we've solved all the old problems. That's right. In other words, we tried as well as we could.
for residents, and if possible, we hope not to hold our residents up for more than 10 to 15 minutes.